Welcome, Met listeners. There is this is a YouTube video that I had was going to do concerning setting up your first website using Muse. For those who are the podcast listeners, this is kind of a departure from what we normally do, but just to show you, you got to open up a Muse program. You open up Muse. You say I can update, but I'm not. It's October 18th, 2017. Let's update later. And we'll wait for it to open up. When Muse finally opens up, now remember, we're going to start with a single page, create new. Just hit create new. And then you got fluid width, and that means it'll change your width, with the size of the screen. And then you got your max page width. You can change that. Columns, and that's not necessary that you figure out how many columns you want. It's just basically giving you some guides. Your gutters, how far in between those columns, but it's not necessary. It's not necessary to do that. All right, and here you have your master page. Anything you do on the master is going to reflect on all the subsequent pages that you make. So your master page is going to have, on a single page, it's going to have everything that you need. You could actually do it in the other one, but there's a reason you do the master. Okay, so you need a logo in that top left. If you're like a normal person, then maybe some, contact times, maybe some, meet the minister, that kind of thing. And so we need to get a logo. So if you have Muse and Adobe, you probably also have Adobe Illustrator. And so we can real quickly make you a decent looking logo in very little time. Every time there's a whole bunch of little, it's real buggy as far as, I'm sure somebody knows how to fix it. So create new, just like you did in Muse. Very similar. Doesn't matter what size, just make sure it's big enough. You can make it a square. You can, make it landscape or portrait. Don't worry, just hit create. We're just making a logo. So first thing you want to start out is the T, which is your text tool. That's how you're going to create a text box where you put text. So if you click on the T on your text tool, if you hover over it, it'll tell you what it is. It shows you what color your text will be, and and the white is your fill color. T for text. All right, and then type in what you want to put in there. Let's say like your church name here or something. And as soon as you start typing, it will clear up. You may want to space it out a little bit. Maybe hit the paragraph button in between. All right, you can click and drag to select it. Go up to your font size. You can also change it to, and let's see, click on Helvetica. All right, and raise her up. All right, your church name here. It's probably just make sure it's big enough for you to see. Something you can click and drag over it and change the color. Put something that differentiates it. Just make sure everything's in the same color theme. You don't want anything clashing. All right, and if you'll take the brush, all right, and click on it. Accuracy and smoothness, it's a trade-off. Accuracy is more jittery. Smoothness does not allow you to, you can see how jittery it would be, and see how, and it's also filling it out. It's not just like a. So anyway, we get over here, click on that once more. Put it about the middle, give you the best of both worlds. I'm not changing anything. Hit OK. And just do your makeshift cross right here. And see it just kind of make another one. All right, so now you got basically three objects. You got your text and you got your two lines. What you want to do now is select all that by clicking and dragging over the area. All right, and then right-clicking and hitting group. Go down to group. All right, and then basically you're ready. So it doesn't matter with the background. Just now that's selected, go to export as. All right, and give it a name. Your PNG is going to be one of your formats that you use with transparent background, and you can use that, but you need to make sure it's pretty high res if you're going to expand it out. You can also um, that you use the well. Let's see, name it. Make sure you can find it after you after you do it. And then there's also a JPEG, which is like your generic, nothing special about it. You can just put up a picture of something. You can save it as that, but I don't know if you have transparency on the back of that. And your SVG is your vector graphic, which is one that if you do this, it will expand as the website expands or as the picture expands without pixelation. And if you can get away with that, do that. And as far as Muse will use that. JPEG's usually universal if you're having issues, but don't worry about. Just hit OK. Check your file location. It's on the desktop. Make sure that you can find it and open it. Just double click on it, and yep, there it is. All right, so you can close that out. Save changes. It don't matter because you've already got your picture made, unless you want to make some changes later. But you can save it if you want to make some changes, and it's going to save it as a Adobe Illustrator file, a .ai file. Just OK. And then and remember, we were trying to make your logo. Okay. Trying to make your logo. So what you're going to do is do this thing called place. There's no other way to do it that I know of except saying file and place. And it's place. There you go. It's even got a shortcut code. And find your file. And as soon as you find the file, and you're going to click OK. Yeah, that's not the one I want. Here it is. All right, yeah, error message, don't worry about it. It just means something about the font. But you see, there you go. Now, use your corner squares to pull it to the shape or the size it needs to be. All right, and now, since we're doing just a single page web page, which is basically all you need as far as you don't need anything fancy. You just need some way for someone to find out when you're having services, where you're located. I know that some people use the website to see, if it's a solid congregation or not, to see if they, agree with the way you worship and all that. Whereas, used to, you'd have to go through the book, like that Church of Christ book that, to see what they believed, whatever. But I don't know anybody that does that anymore. So this is kind of like the new published way. And so put your worship times in there, put your directions, put some contact information, and you're done. And I mean, you can go as far as you want. You can put as many pages, and I'll show you that in a minute. But first of all, like take it section at a time. This is kind of a workflow thing. And as you are, as you get a section, kind of back up and look at it. Kind of adjust your sizes and just make sure it's flowing okay, and that nothing sticks out too sharply to the eye. I mean, I know certain things you say that makes it pop. Well, sometimes the pop is distracting from the rest of it. And as you say, I'm trying to use the same color format. Just raise that up, and if you'll notice that there's your font sizes are located at different places in different programs, but it's the same basic, the same steps. And you see how as you click in that color beside the font size is your ability to color those fonts. And let's see, I'll make another text box here, and maybe it's meet the preacher or minister, and put the minister's name. Hmm. Let's see, I think of some elders' names. Like I said, just type out everything that goes in a section, and then go back after that's done and format. Just you can click and drag over any area and select the text, as long as that little T is highlighted over there. And if not, then you go back over there and either double click on the letter or go click on the it's double click on the letter and it should put you in there. All right, and I add another third text box. Anywhere you do text, you're going to have a box. So, matter of fact, anything you do, just about, you're going to have a box of some sort, whether it's a text box or a regular box. All right, so put your contact information, 867-5309. All right, and add your address. If you want to get real fancy, you could go get your go to Google and get your address put in Google with a map, and then go over and there's a setting where you can export or save a widget or a bit of code, and you can embed that in this as well. But we're not that fancy today. This is just get a website up, get your church website up where people can find you. It looks decent. It's not annoying. Um, and it's functional, and it gets the job done, and it will last you a long time. And so basically, what we have on this it looks like a postcard size website, is that just the basics information for the church, and that's really all you need. So just make sure it's readable, everything is lined up correctly. You don't want your stuff wrapping, the text wrapping around. So adjust the size of your text. Just and every once in a while, just back up and look at it and see if anything sticks out too much, or if something is not sticking out enough. Just kind of get the overall view. Just kind of back up and look at the lay of the land. Like that green. Oh yeah, the green is no. It's just not working. If you want something else to make it pop, that's not the way to do it. Gaudy is not the way to do it. Not on a church site anyway. All right, and all right. So now you hit the preview button, and now it looks, and it looks kind of like it's. I mean, on a widescreen, it would look really lost in there. So let's go back and let's kind of bound some of this stuff up. Again, I say if you want to do stuff, you have to kind of do it in boxes. So let's hit the rectangle tool, and just let's build some rectangles over some sections that we want to put some color in, and then we select it, and then go up there to fill. There right now there's a red line in white, meaning there's no color. But as soon as you hit that, boom, up, it disappeared. Okay, now if you'll right click on that, it will put it behind the letters, because now it's on top of arrange, send to back. There you go. And of course you can adjust, and then click on your, make sure you hit the arrow key engaged, so that you can click on your letter and then adjust it inside it, and then adjust your other side, because you got it's centered, so you want that to remain centered. And I don't know, you might not want to put anything in there. I mean, it's just kind of give it some shape. And there we go. Yeah, let's do something. Yeah, same color there. And right click on it, send it back, arrange, send it back. All right, and then straighten everything up inside the box there. Go back over there to your arrow. Yeah, so I just drew another. If you draw a box, just hit Command Z or Control Z on a Windows to undo. Command Z or Control Z, depending on what you have. All right, then adjust it in, and then adjust the other side in. Of course, now you messed up your font, so adjust your font size. You click on your font there. So you can double click on the font and it'll do the same thing. It appears something ain't right. Something is just not right. Something. It seems like I put it on there and it just jerks it down. Some setting is not right. Let's raise it up and see what happens. That ain't gonna work though. Ah, see, back down. So going back, it is a setting. You look there at the bottom as a clue. But we can try to change some stuff, change it from fluid to fix left, fix right, fix center, and see if that, fix lock, anchor, but it's not going to do it. It's because something is set wrong. And just see, resize, none. You change all this and try to move it around, and but something is set wrong. Something got set wrong on that box. And notice where it sends it. It sends it down to the footer area. It's sending it into the footer area no matter what we do. Look, I'm even trying to, select both boxes and then let's say group together. That surely will hold it, right? Nope, it pulled what's grouped down. Pulls it down into the footer area. Imagine that. Okay. Well, let's take a look and see if we can find something that has to do with the footer area. Okay, so let's go over here and look, see what it says. If you click on that, what we're having trouble with, it's that little footer. For some reason, it wants to select that sometimes. By default. I mean, I didn't touch it. It just selected it, and so of course here I am trying to find out what I did, but by selecting that footer, it pulls it down to the footer area every time. So we turn that off, and it should be good to go. So you say, boop, see? Yeah, and you can adjust things like your logo's a little high right there, but you've got a website. You have built a website. Now, you might also want to add a little bit of framing around it. So, of course, just do you just a big one over all of it. And, just kind of give it some, just its own space. And let's do it real light. See if we can do a real light color. Now, of course, it covers it up, but let's take this time to adjust our colors and make it kind of light. And arrange it always to the back. Now, obviously, you lost your other boxes, so it's just too close to the other color. So, as you look at it, hey, look at that. Well, guess what? It appears that, you got to select the right big box, and this sometimes it's like gymnastics to get it to find the box. There it is. See it, and then if you right-click on it, you'll see footer thing is clicked on again. And notice we didn't click on it; it did it on its own. All right, so there you are. But you lost your other boxes. So let's go back and see if we can't lighten that outer one, to where you can differentiate. And you can kind of pull them sliders there. I wish there was a slider just to lighten it up, but you can kind of do it with the 3 sliders there. Okay. Yeah, and there's your effects that you can do, and there's some shadow effects. If you the emboss but that you do that and then hit shadow, and you can control what color the shadow is. The angle, the depth, the opacity, and it kind of gives a little bit of 3D effect. Do not overdo drop shadows. I know it says they were out of style, but that's because they were so overdone. There's a few people who are bringing drop shadow back. But I mean, just use it sparingly. It's like salt and pepper in a meal. Yeah, okay, so it gives a little bit of 3D effect right there. So anyway, you got your single page website. It is ready to go up. And you say, well, how am I going to get from Muse to, to the web? Well, you got to get you some hosting, like from HostGator. Also, GoDaddy does, and there's several places you can get hosting, and you're going to spend about between $3 to like $15 a month. All right, and then once you get your hosting, you'll get your cPanel will allow you to make an FTP account for that website domain that you're going to put with that hosting. All right, but what we're going to do here, we're going to do a multi-page before you upload it. And basically, you're going to make like a 3-page web page. And look, so I'm trying to get to those words there, but every time I do it, so sometimes you got to move your box out of the way to make it. And sometimes you got to unlock what you did. See, it's selecting that top thing. Clear. See, it's not. You got some stuff locked, so you gotta go down and it's not letting you do anything. So there's that lock right there, but it's not locked. So all right, so I scoot that out of the way, and now let's see if I can now do it. Make sure I'm in the master, because sometimes if it's in the master, you can't change it when you're outside the master. Unlock. All right, there we got to unlock. Now, okay. All right, now put that back over there where it belongs, straightened up. Okay. All right. All right, we're going to go back to our planning thing. And see, and on our master, all we want is just something that will be on every single page that we make. So our logo is a good bet to have on there. Also, you might want to put your a menu bar with the various buttons to push to go and navigate the site. So on our first page, we'll do service times. And of course, we'll just, put our just when we meet. You get the ideal. And then you can, okay, and then when you go, and then on the next page, we'll put like meet the minister. Okay, and so right here, that's where it's home, is our service times. I want to change that to service times. A lot of people have a home page, but it doesn't matter. You change that to service times. All right, we want to do one, let's say meet the minister. And so you're going to make you another text box. Again, everything you're doing is in boxes. And we'll say meet the minister. All right, and then we want a picture of them. So we're going to go, remember it's place. Well, let's straighten that up, make it look better. Maybe, yeah. Make sure everything's kind of balanced. All right. And then remember to put a picture or an illustration. It's got to be placed. So file, place, and yeah, we use that one right there. Little face I drew in Illustrator, and just. You click it, and then you can drag it to where you want it, and you can also resize it with the little white squares on the end. Okay. So let's now do our elders. Let's see, meet the elders. Call it elders. I forgot to name the other one, but that's okay. We'll get in a second. Let's go all the way. Remember I said it doesn't matter about the columns. So you can just pull all the way across. It just gives you some guidelines, and you can say meet the elders. And go ahead and put you some pictures in there. And that's the PNG file. There's really not much difference. And then you can adjust the size. And then you see them lines are lining you up with the various boxes around you and the various pictures around you. Saying we're going to do an SVG. I believe it's SVG. The only difference, SVG is a vector file, while PNG is a image file. All right, I'm going to do one more. We've got 3 elders, so we'll do that one. And this one I want to kind of set it, and then I want to turn it a little bit, and see it'll change to a little circle right there. Then okay, grab it and turn it. Yeah. All right. So you got all kind of controls around it. All right, so we got our 3. Notice I didn't name the second one, so let's name it. We'll name it Minister. All right. Now, the issue now is we've got our pages we now need to be able to navigate. So we go to Preview, and there's our page, okay, and you click around, and you should be able to click, and it should do what you'd see on the web, and there's no way to click. There's nothing to click. All right. So you go into the master page. You want to put a menu. Now you look around. There ain't no menu. There's no button that says menu. No button that says menu nowhere. You think it would be like menu. Put you a menu in there. Easy serve menu. Nope, it's in your widgets. So your widgets library, and then there's your menus, and you got horizontal and vertical. And you just pull it out, and it gives you a little preview of it. And again, quick and dirty, don't worry about changing it. It should kind of match what you're doing, but grab your boxes on the end there and get them straightened out. There you go. It looks kind of good. All right. And you shouldn't cover up anything else that you had on your other pages. Okay. So this is your master page. It's not okay, but it is functional. So there's your service times. There's your minister page, and there's your elder page. All right, so you got a 3-page website made for the master. All right, now that's great. It's them Muse. Now I wanted to get on the web. Okay, remember I said you had to set up your FTP account with your hosting. I'm not going to cover that, but since you've already supposedly did that, well, this right here is so that this Business Catalyst is Adobe, so you can load it to their site, and you can have a unique address in that businesscatalyst.com, and you can send that link to somebody, and they can look at it on the web. But if they type in that web address, it won't go nowhere. It's got to be that link, so it's not very functional because it's not attached to a domain, but it's in the Adobe cloud. Excuse me. So you put your domain name, like yourchurch.com, and then put whatever the FTP name that was given to you in that hosting and the password that was set for you on that hosting. And, of course, it don't have to be that long. But and then if you know it's correct, you can say store credentials, and this will be the last time you have to do it unless something goes wrong. And what it's doing now is trying to connect to the server. Well, guess what? There is no FTP account for this, so it's going timeout. See, it's not, so it's not available because it hadn't been set up yet. All right, so but it should have started loading, and it would have loaded all the files, and everything would have been hunky dory, and you should have been. But the thing is that if that domain name does not work, and you got the right name and the right password, then also the IP address, which is a string of numbers, can be used for that place where you're going to be storing your website, the server. Or you can use the file directory of the actual where you're putting your domain, where you're putting your files. So of course your hosting company should be able to give you that, but out of those 3, you should be able to connect if you got the right username and password that's been set up. And I've had to go through and do all 3 of them because it was being funky, not wanting to see it. So anyway, just remember, use that. Don't put a www. Just put the, yourchurch.com. Of course, put yours in there. Also, you can do it as a file. This export is HTML. If you have a file manager where you put it in the folder, of course, you got to know about folders to do that. So I suggest you do the FTP. But let's say you do know. Well, you put your site URL in there and hit OK, and it will put it on on your computer, and you see you can actually use it, and that's not anywhere except on your hard drive. And so, and it functions, but you can take that HTML file and then drop it into your public folder. Yeah. So anyway, so you got your website. You got your 3-page website. You've loaded it. You should, of course, you're saying, well, what about the FTP? Well, if I get enough response about the FTP and setting that up, I will do a video on that as well. But you've got your, 5 minutes. 5 minutes. I know it's been longer for me, but that's because I've been trying to explain it. But anyway, this is, about the simplest way you can put up a website with Muse, that is. I mean, there may be simpler ways, but if you're doing a single page with nothing on it, this is the way to go, because you can design it and have all the tools of like Photoshop and Illustrator at your fingertips to do, pretty good design and color coordinating. And that's what you want, is a good-looking website, not outdated. And if you don't know what it means if you've never seen an outdated website, then that means you're probably not the person to do the website. Probably need to have some young eyes on it, or some artful eyes. Some people don't have that. So anyway, I just want to also invite everybody to come back to the podcast, the MIT, Ministry Involving Technology. Again, we're missing Guyton Montgomery, but I'd like to thank him for giving me the opportunity to go solo today. And also, I would like to ask that you subscribe to the podcast, and go to the website, mittshow.com. And also like to thank Northwest Florida School of Biblical Studies, because this is a work of that, where we are educating young men to be preachers, but we're also educating Christians for life, that to train them for the church and for living a Christian life that's ahead. And so this is one of the technological areas where we're trying to equip those going out to use modern-day technology to spread the gospel. And so anyway, we appreciate you listening, and see any questions or comment, let us know.